turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to fall, a time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to weep. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to build up, a time to break down, a time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time of love, a time of hate, a time of war, a time of peace, a time you may embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time to every purpose under heaven.
going to take a few minutes just to talk about the story. I just love the illustrations of this story. I think it really helps us to understand the maybe possible message behind this parable of the little gate, or the eye of the needle, as these passages through the city used to be called. These little gates apparently were made so small that a camel would have to remove its load and its saddle and to crawl through on its knees to enter the city. It was kind of meant to be sort of a security measure. And the images that the authors of this book provide are so visually helpful to understand that, because we know the eye of a needle to be sort of the little hole in a needle when you're sewing, but to understand it in the context of the time and what an eye of a needle was during Jesus's time is really helpful for us. So this is not an easy story to digest. It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for someone who is rich to enter the kingdom of heaven. This was quite a radical statement for Jesus to make at the time, because at the time, people kind of believed that if you had riches, if you had wealth, that you were actually, it was a sign that you were blessed by God, that you were special, that you were favored, and would most likely get into heaven because of that. So Jesus telling the story brings a very different message to the people of his time. Jesus introduces this idea that actually we don't earn our way into heaven. We don't earn our way through how much we have, or how much we accomplish, or how famous we are, or how liked we are. But instead, that we are all worthy of entering the kingdom of God. All of us. I love how the story demonstrates the pride of the camel with his beautiful saddle, and as Courtney read beautifully, the red tassels and the load of valuable rugs on top of the camel. And the camel is so proud that he's appalled that his servant boy would suggest that he wriggle his way through the gate. And then the illustration of the camel being stripped of his saddle and his baggage, and how he didn't look so proud and important anymore. Maybe this is an image for us that could help us kind of think of maybe the moments when we had that kind of pride, where we kind of felt like we were better than other people, or the things that make us feel better than other people. Maybe things that are external, things that aren't about what's inside of us. Or maybe it could represent the ways that we can feel stuck, like maybe the way we see a situation in our lives, or maybe an attitude that we have towards someone that might be creating a barrier in our relationship with someone else. Or maybe it represents our expectations that things are going to go a certain way. Watching that camel slowly strip away his baggage and his saddle made me think of the ways that maybe we're sometimes called to shift our perspective, or to let go of our expectations. And I know that for me, that's not easy to do. You can see from the look on the camel's face that the experience of letting go can be quite painful. I remember when I was at the greenhouse, Helen would often declare, "Let it go," to remind herself not to get stuck when life would present some unexpected curveballs. And our community has been thrown some unexpected curveballs these last few weeks. We've been praying for Luigi, who's been recovering from surgery in the hospital. And we've had to say goodbye to our longtime friend and community member, David Harmon. And this week, Helen Schlichter got the news that her dad, at the age of 103, also died. It was beautiful to be with Helen and her family on Saturday when they celebrated Harrison's long and fruitful life. And many family members who could not be with us prepared videos to share with the family, even from as far away as Australia. And there were even kangaroos hopping around in the background in the video. But it was Helen's blessing for her dad that moved me the most. As Helen placed flowers on Harrison's casket in the grave, she said out loud for everyone to hear, "Dad, you will always be in my heart and in Mom's heart. Be at peace. I love you." I was so touched that in the midst of her deep loss, Helen so graciously let her father go to be at peace. And as part of our reflection today, I want to end with a short video that I shared with Helen's family at Harrison's celebration of life on Saturday. I created it as a tribute to the special relationship between Helen and her father. My dad was a gardener, and I loved him. This is how Helen described Harrison. To those of us in community and with Helen at L'Arche Daybreak, it's clear where Helen got her love of flowers. Helen can often be seen having a conversation with the roses in the vase at the dining room table as she eats her breakfast, or with the tulips as she sips her cup of coffee. She is amongst the many gardeners and mystics throughout history who have known of the intimate relationship between humans and creation. Helen learned from Harrison that his work in the garden was a reflection of his relationship with the divine, with God, our Creator. Saints like Francis of Assisi and mystics like Hildegard of Bingen often recognize that the small daily encounters with the natural world are moments of connecting with the bigger picture, that we are all connected and made in the image of the one who made us. Harrison instilled in Helen a comfort and almost a deep intimacy with the garden. It is where they worked side by side, where Helen felt a sense of belonging, and over time, like the flowers, took root and bloomed like the flowers in the garden. Harrison ensured that this blooming in Helen could continue beyond what he and Gladys could continue to provide. Helen's move to L'Arche Daybreak has been a continuation of the nurturing that began in the Schlichter household. The gardener is always tending to the flowers, helping them to become all that they can become. Harrison took his cues from the Creator, providing for Helen a place that she could call home and become all she is meant to be, where her beauty could radiate and touch the lives of others. Helen has been a gift to many of us who have come to know her. We have Harrison and the Schlichter family to thank for that. Helen reminds us that we all yearn to belong, and that belonging not only includes our friends, family, neighbors, and community, but it includes the trees, the flowers, the sun, and the stars. We are born of nature and are part of nature. We are born into a web of life where each of us belongs and has a place. We are grateful for Harrison's life, for Harrison's faithfulness to Helen, for reminding her and each of us of our place in the universe, and by extension, the love of a creator who tends to the unique beauty of each of us and who calls us to radiate that beauty to everyone around us.
Yeah, I like this one. I thought of getting some flowers.
Clara brought them for you.
Yeah, Claire did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Aren't they pretty?
Mm-hmm.
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 They make you happy.
They do. They make me so happy. Happy, happy. Hello. 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 Hello.
Wow, wow. What's that?
That's to you.
Thank you.
All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. Deep the joy of being together in one heart, and for me that's just where it is. All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. As we make our way through all the joys and pain, can we sense our younger, truer selves? All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. Someone will be calling you to be there for a while. Can you hear their cry from deep within? All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. Forever as love.